returns kicks. So we're excited to have him. Played in a Big Ten, great conference, was very productive. To me, was one of the top receivers in college football last year. And so to add him to the guys already on the staff, I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, you see, I think he was the 2021 Big Ten Special Teams Player of the Year. He can kick return, he can punt return. He's got versatility to play all three positions for us on offense. So a ton of value in what he can bring to us, particularly early on. He's got a path to see the field potentially in competition as a returner at both returner spots. He's got flexibility as a receiver, and he's got a ton of production in a good conference. And so he was at the spot that we were at in the fourth round. Felt like he was a no-brainer ad with a guy that's got a lot of ability to help us down the road here.
Not a burner, but I'm going way back in the old school, but like Fred Bolitnikoff, two great route runner, great hands. Is he that type of guy? If you ever categorize?
Yeah, I mean he ran 4.43 at the combine, so he's one of the pretty good, faster than I was. So so he has enough speed, and I went to his pro day and saw him up close and personal, and he's fast enough to give you some reps on the outside, and he's just a great route runner, very really big into technique, so can get in and out of his breaks. So we're excited to have him, and he'll add some value to this roster.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I mean, the Iowa offense is much different than Purdue's. Purdue is always, in the last handful of years, feels like has put out really productive players statistically, and he's no different. But you saw the traits at Iowa, you saw his return ability at Iowa, and he really bet on himself at an offense that featured the passing game a little more, and it turns out that he was capable of being a really productive receiver as well. So you saw all the things that you like about him at Iowa, and then he really shined this year with more opportunities.
Caught a lot of balls. Kind of how did he get open so much? And also, it looks like he was a good red zone threat as well. What was he doing to make plays for red zone?
Yeah, a combination of a lot of things. He has great ball skills. Anytime he's in a 50-50 contested catch situation, he's seen to come down with him. And so really everybody on our roster, all the receivers that we have great ball skills. And so he adds to that as a guy that no matter where you throw the ball, he's going to make the play. He's a technical route runner. And so if it's a 15-yard route, he's going to run 15. If it's 12 yards and he's going to get 12. He knows how to manipulate coverages, the defenders at the top of his routes. He just knows how to get open. He's a football player, and that's what we need. And, very similar to when I was in Indianapolis with Peyton Manning, with Joe, Joe, he wants you to be in the right spot at the right time. And that's what Charlie does. He's going to be in the right spot. He's someone that Joe can count on. He's going to be able to count on. And all the receivers we have are those type of guys that Joe counts on. He has confidence in. He knows they're going to run the right routes, do the right things, and so we're excited to have them.
Troy, along those lines, how important is that? Especially all those things, if you're looking for an inside receiver to be able to do all that, set guys up, be able to technically set, how much more important is that being how compact everything is on the inside compared to outside?
Yeah, very important. You've got to have a nuance to running routes, especially in the slot, and he does. He understands how to get open, and so we're excited to have him, and that's going to play a huge role in what he does here.
Right, when you're going through all those small receivers that were in this draft in this middle part, what do you look for to see this guy that won't hinder him at this league? Is there a trait or some part about those guys that shines through? Was there something with him that made you believe that it wouldn't slow him down?
Yeah, he's not as small as some of the guys, I think, in this draft class, but you look for a trait of some kind that will let you know that that player can provide something of value, whether it's a return ability, whether it's they're great separators at the top of the route, whether they got great speed. There's a lot of things these guys have that check boxes, and that's what you look for is a trait that you feel like can contribute to your team. And the thing about Charlie is that he checks quite a few of them, and he's a little bit bigger. He weighed in, I think he was like 175 at the combine, but he's played at a heavier weight too, so he's got some play strength to him. He's not going to get knocked around like some of the smaller guys do, but he has great ball skills, which is a big part of it. Really can catch the ball away from his body. Does a great job coming out of the break, getting extended, creating separation at top of routes. So those are the things when you're trying to determine who can help you the most, you're trying to find traits like that. And he's got several of them. And there's like I said, a path to him helping us quickly if he performs well as a returner.
With the returner part, what makes you confident that what he did at college will translate to NFL? What are there specific traits or things you saw from him?
He's a decisive runner. I'll let Troy talk a little more about all the traits of him, but you can just see he makes really good decisions. He's going to catch the ball. He's sure-handed, which is a huge part of the return game process. But I just think that he's got enough speed to go score touchdowns, and he has in his career. So those are the things that translate, particularly when you see the decisiveness in the return game that really allows them to get the ball vertical up the field and find lanes and break open returns that could be 8 to 12 yards to turn in 50 or 60 yard returns. And if there's anything, Troy, you want to add to that? I know you studied that a lot more.
Yeah, no, you said it all. I mean, ball security is number one, and he has great hands, great ball skills, great judgment. And so he should be able to go back there and do exactly what he did in college and add explosive element to the return game because of his speed and because he's decisive and he hits it. So there'll be good competition for that spot.
Right, we've seen it with TB, obviously, the mechanical, the skill of running routes in the red zone, how important that is. Is that something Charlie has?
Yeah, we want to be able to run routes all over the field, but especially in the red zone, when the field gets shorter and you need to score touchdowns, he knows how to run routes. And so he's going to be fun to work with. I'm excited to get my hands on him and get to work and just help him to get better. But I think he'll add that element in the red zone wherever he plays and whatever position we are on the field. He just knows how to run routes, knows how to get open, knows how to catch the ball and make plays. And so that's what all the guys in our receiver room know how to do. And so he'll be another guy to do that. TB's a little bigger, but like I said, we want guys that can catch the football, have good ball skills. They love the game. That's something that sometimes goes unnoticed. Is we want guys that love the game, that come to work every day, ready to go, bring positive energy, and then when they get on the field, they're coachable. They're going to do what we ask them to do, and then when the ball is thrown, they're going to make plays, and he fits all those things.
Yeah, I mean, you see a guy that wants to be a really good football player. He does all the things that you would look for in terms of his work ethic, his preparation, the things that he does amongst his teammates, the respect he's garnered from his teammates, especially for being a transfer player as well. Those guys, you see guys earn a respect like that and earn a trust of one, a quarterback, and two, a coaching staff. Those things go a long way. Troy spent a ton of time with him again, was at his pro day. So if there's things you want to add, Troy, to his personality, but there's a lot of things to like about how he goes about his business. It fits right in with what we want to do here and all the types of players that we have in our locker room currently.
How good is he in pre-snap in terms of recognizing coverages? I mean, coverages are multiple in the NFL. They're disguised well and all that. Is he pretty good in terms of reading coverages and pre-snap diagnosis?
Yeah, just his mental makeup. He's a pro. When I went to his pro day, I mean, he approaches the game, approaches his preparation like an NFL football player. And so he's not going to get distracted with all the other things, and he's going to be focused. He's going to come in here, learn the playbook, and he's going to compete, and that's what we need. And pre-snap. Yeah, I mean, he understands football, and so, he's very aware of pre-snap. I had an hour Zoom with him, and we went over coverages and different looks and talked football, and he was an A. And so I'm excited for him to get in the building and start learning this offense and getting on the field and showing what he can do.
He's obviously on the older side. He's 25 years old. Transferred twice, like you guys mentioned. Did that kind of factor in the decision in being older, more experienced kind of veteran?
No, I think that what you're going to start seeing more and more, and you're seeing some in this draft as well, is with the college landscape the way it is, with the NIL money and guys going back to school. We're still dealing with players that have COVID eligibility still. So you're getting guys that are playing 5 and 6 years of college football. And so that's just one of the things. Ideally, you'd love a guy that's always going to be 21 years old when he's coming out. But, there's times and places now where that's going to be a little bit rarer as you get into some of these later rounds, guys that are playing 5 years of college football. And I do think it does help these players that stay in a little bit longer. It gives them a chance to really grow and be developed in college. And then when they get here, they're a little bit more polished than maybe they would have been. But there's going to be that age discrepancy, I think, moving forward all the way around when you're talking about guys going back to school and NIL money and all that. That's enticing players to stay in school as opposed to come out early.
Ryan, the second straight year, you have to wait until day 3
Mhm.
to get to have a pick. A guy
Yeah.
you kind of has one of your toys essentially. What's that wait like for you? I know frustrating is probably not the word. You want to build the
No.
team the right way, but what is it like waiting for that pick?
It's exciting for me to watch the guys that we've picked that help our team. That's the best part about it is I know that we have a lot of high regard for the guys we got picked in the first 3 rounds. Those guys are good players and are really going to help us. I'm a fan of helping the Bengals at the end of the day. I knew that this was going to be a draft where a lot of the fun offensive talent was probably going to go earlier in the rounds. There's going to be guys available that if we wanted them, we'd probably have to take them earlier than we were probably fully comfortable doing so. And that's a product of our own success. It's a good problem to have. We're picking at the back of a round because we won a lot of games, but that also doesn't necessarily always allow you to have all the fun players that go earlier in rounds. And so that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We're going to find players that fit us and find guys that we think can contribute. And it's the benefit of having a really well-built roster. I think we have a lot of spots on offense that are accounted for. There's a lot of places that we could use some depth and some guys that can help us, but we've got a really good roster across the board. And I think that helps too, to not get too down on it when all the shiny objects go well before we get a chance to pick.
At what point did you decide the name tag was appropriate?
I just felt like Lou had been down here so much. I want to make sure you guys remembered who I was. So.
I know there's still a lot to put on rounds in this draft,
Yeah.
but Ryan, where do you feel like you're at tackle, running back, and tight
Yeah.
end?
We feel good about where we're at tight end. I know Zach touched on it in the pre-draft press conference, but Irv Smith was a second-round pick. He's played a lot of football. He's a good player. We got Drew Sample back, who's done a lot of things for us as a tight end. And we got some guys that have played for us last year. Devin Asiasi played some roles for us. He was also I think he was a second or third round pick as well. So we got guys that we feel like can be productive players. We got some guys in the practice squad with Nick Bowers and Tanner Hudson that we're interested to see how they contribute for us. So we didn't feel a pressing need. Certainly, if the right player was available at the right time, you would pull a trigger on a tight end or a running back for that matter. But the way the draft's unfolded is we feel good about who we have, and if we can keep adding players and adding depth at the right spots, we'll feel good about it, and we'll be able to. I mean, we certainly still need, just numbers wise, we need running backs. We definitely could use one more tight end potentially, depending on how that comes. But we're looking at depth positions and contributors in other ways other than just probably starting at this point. So have plenty of things to still address. There's plenty of picks to go still. But there's still some good players left too that we feel really good about that can help us.
You've had solid, reliable type return guys in recent years, but I'm not sure there's been a home run threat since Adam Jones was here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a priority in this draft to try to get potentially a touchdown type guy in the return game?
Yeah, I feel like for the last couple of years we've always had our eye out for a returner that we feel like could help us with a little bit more dynamic ability in the return game as far as production goes in college. And there's plenty of those guys that exist. Sometimes they fall to you at the pick that's appropriate. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes other teams pick them. But we've certainly been on the lookout for that type of player should they fit. It's always nice to have players that can give you value in special teams and still provide you some value on game day on offense as well, as opposed to just a one position player at that point on game day. So always looking to potentially find one that can do that. They're harder to find than you would think. And there's just so much less returns in the NFL these days that You don't see as many guys out there breaking games open as returners, although there's a few. But yeah, we're always on the lookout for guys that can make us more explosive, and all three phases as a returner. Special teams would certainly count.
This player has sticky hands, jackhammer feet. Got some significant traits, obviously. If you had to pick one, what do you think his best trait might be? I mean, what does he do best?
I'll let you take that.
Yeah. To me, it's ball skills. Is probably number one, that you can throw the ball anywhere and he's going to find a way to make a play. And that's crucial in this league because most of the time you're going to have a contested catch situation. Rarely are you going to just create so much separation that you're going to be by yourself. And so to have great ball skills and be able to catch under pressure and with a guy on your back, to me is his most impressive feature.
Speaking of depth, Tyler Boyd ending the contract here. How important was it adding depth at that position knowing he's kind of getting up there in age?
Yeah, that doesn't really factor in necessarily. There's a lot of things that can happen between now and that point. But obviously, Tyler's proven himself to be arguably one of the best slot receivers in football. And so all we were looking for is to find ways to keep trying to upgrade our depth and our competition at the position. And whether the contract would ever factor in at any point, that's a problem for down the road. We feel really good about the guys we have and what they bring to us, and feel good about adding Charlie as a depth piece in competition and see if we can get the whole position better from top to bottom.
Is he the kind of guy that can beat someone out in the run game? How important is that when you're looking at traits of value?
Very important. I tell the guys that we're not only catching the football, but we got to be able to block. We're an extension of the run game. And so as you've seen the last few years, T. Higgins, he'll go and stick his nose in and block a safety. And so we expect all the receivers to be physical enough to go and block downfield and create big runs for the running backs. And so we don't want anybody that's scared or timid, and he's not that guy.
In the AFC Championship game, TV got hurt on your first scoring drive, and his absence was felt. Could he have gone in the slot and given you that kind of play and really helped?
That's the hope. That's the hope that we've got enough competition, and if he's gotten to that point, he's earned it. I don't want to diminish at all the contribution that Trent Irwin has given us over the last couple of years. He's really stepped in and made some really big plays for us, and we've counted on him, and he's answered that bell when we have. So to say that Charlie's going to come in and take that spot, if we need him to come do that, that's ideally the hope when you're drafting players, that they can ascend to those roles. But he's got to come in and earn it, just like all these guys do. And we got good players in our receiver room, guys that have pelts on the wall, for lack of a better term, that have really done it for us in big moments, and Trent Irwin has as well. So he's going to have to earn it. Trent Taylor has been our returner, and he's done a nice job at it. So nothing's getting handed to anybody at this point, but we feel like he's got a chance to really drive the competition and hopefully get the best out of everybody in that room. And hopefully, if that's the case, he's ascended to that role. He certainly would have earned it, and we feel like then at that point he could help us win a game.